Welcome back to TechniqueWOD. Today is part 2 out of a 2-part series on grip strength. The first video in this series, we talked about isometric grip strength, basically the kind of grip strength that you would use to hang from a pull-up bar for a long period of time, doing lots of kipping pull-ups, things like that, and or hang onto a barbell when you're doing touch and go deadlifts, or you're cycling through a bunch of power cleans, that type of thing. On this video, part 2, I'm going to give you a bunch of exercises that can help you grow your forearms and improve their muscular endurance. So like I said, on the first part of this video, if you haven't watched that yet, definitely go watch that. We talked about isometric grip training, which is basically where you're squeezing and the angle of your wrist is not changing, like hanging onto a barbell or a pull-up bar. But all joints have 3 planes of motion that they can operate in. If you're looking at me here, and you're looking at my shoulders, I can abduct, adduct, I can do flexion and extension, and then I have all kinds of rotation that I can do as well. Wrists have the same thing. I can flex and extend, I can abduct and adduct, and then I can pronate and supinate. That's really happening mostly at the elbow joint. But those muscles that cross the elbow, some of them are a part of your forearm, like your brachioradialis, and working all those different planes of motion and all those different movements contribute to the muscular development of your forearm. So we'll start here at the elbow joint. Kind of a bodybuilding basic, so to speak, is that your brachioradialis, which is one of your larger forearm flexors here, also flexes the elbow. And so any type of pronated curl, doing like a hammer curl, or just holding onto a barbell where your wrists are facing down, is going to help kind of hit that brachioradialis and help grow your forearms. So that's one great option. You can also do that with dumbbells if you want to. You could do more like a hammer curl as opposed to a regular curl. So a hammer curl is this hand and a regular curl is this hand. Those are slightly different movements. Same but different. If you look at the position that I'm in, where I'm doing a bicep curl, where my palm is up, you can see there's a gap here where my bicep has contracted a little bit more. If I go from this supinated position to this pronated position, it kind of turns off my bicep a little bit. My bicep's not contracted here, and then it puts a little more stress on the other elbow flexors, not the biggest one, which is your bicep there. So if I, again, just supinate and pronate here, you can see as I supinate, my bicep contracts, and when I pronate, my bicep relaxes. So doing curls like that takes that stress off the bicep and puts it onto the other elbow flexors and can help grow your forearms. So those are great options. Another one you could do, I haven't used this particular thing a lot. A lot of people have like a captains of crush, like gripper. You know what I'm talking about, where it's like you got the thing and you just go like this, right? I don't have any of those here right now, but I have this guy. Anything that you can squeeze that has a good amount of resistance, I don't even know what this is called, but that's what this is for. You can do those captains of crush type things if you happen to have them. If you want to do something where you don't need anything other than just like a long pipe, barbell's probably too long, something that's like 5 or 10 pounds and has some length to it, you can do all kinds of like leverage fulcrum based repetitions. I can slide it behind me. I can do repetitions like this. This is like little assistance work that you can add at the end of your workouts. You don't need to, if you're only working out 3 days a week, you don't need to like add a bunch of sets of forearm training to your programming. This is for if you're already doing a lot of other volume and you have a specific reason to do some forearm training. Also, you can just do that pronation supination piece like this. Just hang your arm over a bench. I don't have a wrist roller, but if you have a wrist roller, those are great options. Go over here real quick. We don't have a wrist roller at this gym. Here, come over right here. But if I had a rope hanging between this with a weight at the bottom, you can just go like this and the rope comes up. If you know what I'm talking about, you can totally see this. If you don't, just go Google it, wrist roller. And it kind of looks like this. And that's really, really good forearm training. And it'll give you a really deep, a deep muscle burn. If you've never done a lot of intense forearm training, it really is like some of like the deepest, most intense muscular burn that you could ever possibly feel. Like your forearms just seem to be able to keep going. Most people quit mentally long before they quit, you know, physically. Your forearms can kind of just keep going, but oftentimes it hurts a pretty good deal, and you just want to give up before you actually go to true muscular failure. Another couple good options. If you can do this on the ground, great. If not, I think using something like a GHD is a great option, where I'm getting a stretch and then I'm just pushing up. You know, I'm basically doing like, you know, like skull crushers for your triceps, or, you know, similar to doing bicep curls. It's just single joint flexion extension, and it just puts a bunch of stress in this case for that exercise on my forearm flexors. And you can do the same thing. You can do the same thing here if you want to, and push away like that. And if you want to make it easier, you walk forward. Now it's really, really easy. If you want to make it harder, you can walk your feet back, and it gets a whole lot harder. You'd be hard pressed to actually do that on the ground, but more power to you if you want to try. Also, you know, anytime you're posting on your fingers, it's going to put stress throughout your fingers, your hand, and your forearms to some extent. That's not going to grow your forearms a whole lot, but it can add some amount of strength to your hands and to your fingers. One thing that I like to do, I do some warm-up where there's a little bit of a gap underneath my hand, and I can do repetitions like this. It's like little push-ups. And this is actually a whole lot harder than it looks, even though I'm just doing like an angled push-up. Just doing those couple of reps, like I can already feel a little bit of stress in my hands and in my forearms. I got achy fingers because I do a lot of jiu-jitsu. Don't do jiu-jitsu, it's bad for your hands. But it's really, really fun, so I keep doing it anyway for some reason. So those are a couple of fun exercises that you can do to add some grip intensive training. Another couple good exercises that you can do that are kind of like more old school bodybuilding style is you can grab a dumbbell, you can hang it over the edge here, or some guys just put it on their leg like this, and you go all the way out until it's just kind of barely hanging on your fingers, and then you roll it back up. Again, kind of like doing bicep curls, but at the wrist joint for your forearms. So that's a fun option. You can do it with a barbell too if you want. Nothing fancy here, same deal. Just put a barbell in front of you and just do super high reps, typically. I actually like it best. I think it's more comfortable to do it behind me, just like this. So those are a couple of good options for training your forearm muscles and training your wrists and your fingers and your hands. Again, if you're not already doing like quality programming 3, 4, 5 plus days a week, then you probably don't need to add a bunch of forearm training into the mix. This is extra, very small assistance work. If you can't do pull-ups and your grip is a problem, it might not only be grip strength, it could be pulling strength and back strength, and your strength to body weight ratio's got to be right. If you're 40 pounds overweight, then it's probably not your grip strength that's the limiting factor. You got to go lose some body fat, you got to get on a better nutrition program and all that. All those things are a factor, but if anything, it's just a whole lot of fun to add something new to your training. Grip training is legitimately very, very fun. I really enjoy it. So I hope you got some value out of that. I'm Doug Larson, Douglas E. Larson on Instagram, and of course everything Shrugged Collective. I'm co-host of the Barbell Shrugged podcast, so I hope you're watching that. If you have questions or you want to see other movements in the future, definitely reach out to me. Just send me a message on Instagram, either on my personal, Douglas E. Larson, or on the Shrugged Collective, and I will get back to you. See you another day.
Welcome to the Shrugged Collective Program Vault. Over the last 6 years, we've been leading the charge in online strength and conditioning programming and coaching. And for the first time in the history of the Shrugged Collective, we're combining our 11 best-selling long-term and short-term accessory programs into one membership site called the Program Vault. From Olympic weightlifting to strongman, leaning out, nutrition, you name it, our 11 best-selling programs are yours for $47 a month. Get to shruggedcollective.com/vault, and you will find immediate access to our 11 best-selling strength and conditioning programs.